is Natalie McCracken, and I lead marketing here at Pattern Ag. And with me today is Dr. Danielle Watts, who's our Vice President of Data Science. I brought her on today because we have been getting a lot of questions about the accuracy and validation of our SCN test. And so not only about accuracy and validation, but a little bit about how we're sampling and making sure that we're finding what we need to find in that field for accurate results. External studies that we've actually had done so that we are not the only ones telling you that it's validated. And number three, how we're figuring out our risk threshold. So when you get your results back from us, you have low, moderate, and high. How do we put each of those fields in those categories? So Danielle, can you start out talking a little bit about our sampling protocol first?
Absolutely. So to start with, Pattern has done extensive high-density sampling in commercial fields to ensure that we really understand what the distribution of these soybean cyst nematode and corn rootworm are in these fields. And so our current commercial protocol is to take at least 12 cores in each sampling zone. And then we aggregate those to give back results. And so each zone gets at least 500 to 800 grams of soil from the field that we then use to evaluate our test against. And so you can imagine if you have a 100-acre field and we break it up into 10-acre zones, that means we have taken at least 120 cores across that entire field to provide back to our growers a highly specific, highly reliable soybean cyst nematode estimate.
Excellent. And then can you talk to us a little bit about external validation? So we run our own studies, of course, but talk to us about maybe other people who have sort of tested us on this.
Excellent question. It's really important that our growers be able to make confident decisions in the face of our soybean cyst nematode. And so from 2000 to 2002, which were the first years of our soybean cyst nematode test on the market, we worked with 58 independent academic and commercial trials to ensure that we really could align our test against more standard diagnostic clinic egg counts. After that, we worked with Dr. Melissa Mitchum out of the University of Georgia and her research group who are doing surveys of soybean fields across the state of Georgia. With that, we were able to ensure our test aligned with 96% accuracy against really intensive laboratory evaluations that included HG typing and full greenhouse evaluations of soybean cyst nematode density in those soils. So we're really able to stand by our test and ensure that it is the most validated genomic test for soybean cyst nematode on the market.
96%, that is pretty impressive. So then to round this conversation out, my last question for you is, how do we come up with our risk thresholds? So people get their results back and it says low, moderate, high. What are we basing that against?
Yeah, absolutely. There is extensive academic research that goes into the risk thresholds. And so we align ours with Iowa State recommendations for risk thresholds in soybean fields. So we use their standard where 0 to 2,000 eggs in a unit of soil equates to low risk. And by low risk, we mean low likelihood that soybean cyst nematode is going to impact the yield in those fields. Then between 2,000 and 12,000 eggs in each soil, aggregate soil sample, the alignment there is that you are at elevated risk to significant yield loss as a result of those soybean cyst eggs in the field. And then above that, we would consider 12,000 to be a high risk scenario. Anything above that would be high risk. And so between moderate and high risk, we really suggest that increasingly aggressive management strategies, even rotating out of soybean to reduce the loads in those fields would be our general recommendation.
Excellent. Well, everyone, there is still time to run a pressure panel, which would give you your SCN values for your field, because even if you look at one of our predictive maps, which are in our 2024 predictive ag report, you don't know what your field's pressure is unless you test your specific field. If you'd like to get that report, just go to www.pattern.ag and get your report today.